Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. I am Tina Bickford. I am the Tatted Stamper. Welcome to my craft room. If you are here watching live, leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what the weather is like in your area. We are having a sunny, beautiful sunny day today here in New Hampshire. Going to be a really nice sunny day. Let's see, what are we doing today? So today so my husband and I are actually going with some friends of ours to a brewery in one of those, small private brewers. It is actually owned by a couple that I worked with at my previous job. So it's kind of nice. And we're going to go watch some live music. So that'll be fun. We're going to do that today. Good morning, Jenny from West Virginia. Thank you for joining. So today I am going to do, I'm not doing a fun poll today. I'm doing, good morning, Mom. Morning, Dad. I'm going to do a card using the June Paper Pumpkin kit. So for those of you who don't know what Paper Pumpkin is, I'm sure you all must know what Paper Pumpkin is, but it's a monthly kit subscription through Stampin' Up! That comes to your doorstep every month. You can skip or pause. You get everything in the box that you need to make the cards, but you don't need to make the cards that are in the kit. You can just make whatever you want. And who doesn't want to stretch their dollars and use up some of their craft stash, like all of the craft stash? Everyone does. So hi, Sandra from Oklahoma. You guys are getting some rain. We need a little more rain up here. We just had a rainy day a couple of days ago, but it's not quite enough to catch us up with our rain deficit. So, and for those of us who get our water from a well, rain is really important. It's important for everything. Not that I love rainy days. If you could just rain at night while I'm sleeping and then have, lots and lots of sun during the day while I'm awake, that would be perfect. So, if you could do something about that, that would be great. So Paper Pumpkin. So I'm a couple of kits behind. I actually, I realized the other day I never did, which one is it? I never did February's Hello Spring. So I'm going to have to do something with that one too. So I just finished the one we got in May, which was Mountain Majesties, and I posted all of my alternate cards over in the Paper Pumpkin Facebook group. And all of the cards were well received. You guys all got to see them before I posted them in that group. So I was inspired to dig right into the June kit, which is called Charming Day. And I am nearly finished with it. So I literally have one more card to make. Good morning, Lisa from North Carolina, and Lynn is joining us from Southern New Jersey. Welcome. So you guys are actually we're gonna make the final card for my Charming Day kit, and I'm gonna show you the other 20 cards that I made using this kit. Now, much like the Mount Majesty kit, I haven't touched the envelopes. So I still have all of the envelopes from the Mount Majesty kit, and I have all of the envelopes from this kit that I just haven't done anything with yet, but I will. So without further ado, let's switch down to the desk camera so you guys can see what I am working with. Okay, so this was one of the card bases. And it's, you know, it was the same pattern on both sides. Now, one side is very symmetrical. You can see one side of the card base was very symmetrical. And I'm all about symmetry. So, well, most of the time I'm all about symmetry because I'm OCD like that. So you can see that it's the same, you know, on each side, it's the same. It's even, even, even. The other side of the card base was not. So, which kind of drove me nuts. I'll show you the card that I made with that one, and lots of others. So stick around until the end of the video so that you can see those before I post them over in that Facebook group. And if you're not part of that Facebook group, then you would not see them in there anyway. So you get to watch before I show them to anybody else. I haven't shown them to anybody else yet. Okay, so we're going to be using this card base. It's hard to see because of the light, that gold shimmer on there. I love it. We're going to be using a standard A2 card base, so it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Let's just fold that up and give that a crease. Okay. And I am going to be using, so one of the things that that is happening right now with Stampin' Up, or is, I should say, it's not happening right now. It's going to be happening. Is my camera straight? Straight. Yeah, straight enough. Okay. Starting on Tuesday, the 5th, they're having a sale for, it's called the in color sale. So anything and everything that has the in colors in them, so designer series papers and the blends and the ink pads and all of the stuff is going to be on sale. So I thought that I would do a card using the Timid Tiger. And I'm also using Mossy Meadow. Now, this is just a scrap that I had from another card. So don't take any, there's no weight in it being a triangle because it's going to just, it's for a die cut. So this is what we're going to be using. And then I decided to pull in my Charming Day dies. And these ones are really cool. So they go with a Charming Day stamp set. Just grab that and show you that. That is this one right here. So it's got, you know, this thanks for being you and happy birthday. And I love this happy birthday font. Love it, love it. Can't wait to see you again. Hey, you made my day. And then it's got these 3 stamps that are great for if you like doing coloring or Stampin' Blend markers. Perfect for those. I'm not going to be using any of the stamps, but this has the dies that cut out. So there's 1, 2, 3 dies that will cut out these 3 stamped images. And then you have what I call the standalone dies. They're the ones that actually, they coordinate with the set, but they don't necessarily, you know, you can use them on their own. Like this one will cut out a rose, a single rose. Beautiful. And this one is, this is actually the one that we're going to be using today. And then this one does little leaves, just leaves. And this one does like a little twig with some, looks like little flower buds on it. Cute, cute. And this one is just a single rosebud. All right, so I'm just going to pull this one out because we're going to use this one. Set those others aside. Set that aside. All right. So when I was doing this card, when I was playing around trying to figure out the design of it, I made a last minute change, and I'm going to show you. And I mean, I think I already know which way I want to go with it, but I'll let you guys vote on it if you'd like. All right, so let's just take that Timid Tiger first. So this Timid Tiger this is going to be my, the intention was for this to be my matte layer for this. So I want this piece to be I want just a little tiny white border around my card base. So I want this to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And so all I'm doing is just lining that up on that top, like so, right up at the top, pressing against that little edge there to keep my cardstock from moving around, and then I'm cutting up towards that. It helps just to keep that cardstock from moving around, slipping when you're cutting. Okay, so this is the part that you've seen me do this before. I want to make, I was trying to take a little bit of weight out of this card. So I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out, like make a little 1/2-inch frame around, and I'll use the center to use as a die cut. It also takes a little bit of weight out of the card if you worry about, you know, extra postage and any of that kind of stuff, or thickness of the card, all of that. So I've shown you this before, but we'll do this again. So I'm just going to line this up to the 1/2 inch. Now, this is where I needed to make the change because of the way I think I want to do this card. So normally I would have you just line it up with a 1/2 inch here, bring your cutting blade to somewhere near 1/2 inch, but you know, you don't have to be real crazy even about it because it's going to be under another layer. So no one will ever see if your cuts went a little bit too far, and you just cut and then rotate it, line it up with a 1/2 inch, put your blade at the where your cut is and cut down to, you know, about a 1/2 inch and rotate it and do the same thing all the way around. And it's okay if you end up with, let me see if I can bring this in and show you. It's okay if you end up with a card, you know, cardstock, a little frame that has these little slits where you went maybe a little bit too far in one direction. That's all okay. Well, I happen to set this card down, the papers. I was kind of putting it all together and I happened to set it down. And I was just looking at it and I said, okay, well, this is what it will look like if I use this as a frame here. And there'll be a focal point somewhere on this, the front of the card. But when I set it down this way. And then I put my focal point, my focal piece on the card in the center. And I liked this so much better. So I'm going to cut my frame with a little bit more precision because I obviously don't want those cuts if they're going to show on the front of the card. So let me grab my Timid Tiger again. And I'm just going to kind of twist my paper trimmer this way so that I can actually see without bumping my head on the camera, so that I can actually see these lines a little bit better. I'm just going to put my cardstock in, line it up with that 1/2 inch here, and then I'm going to line my blade up with the 1/2 inch mark on this clear ruler. And you can tell that with this paper trimmer, you can tell because it's got the little mark on the side. I'm just going to line that up, drop my blade. Now this is 5 3/8. So I want to come up a 1/2 inch. So a 1/2 inch from 5 3/8 is going to be 4 7/8. So I'm just going to cut down to the 4 7/8, and I'm just going to switch hands here real quick so that I can see what I'm doing. 4 and right there looks like 7/8, and then I'm just going to rotate it, go to the 1/2 inch, bring my blade up again to the 1/2 inch mark. Now when I drop my blade, it should be lined up with this cut also. Sure is. All right. So this one is 4 1/8. So minus the 1/2 inch is going to come up to 3 and boom, 5/8. So 1/2 inch dropped. And right there. And that corner looks great. Perfect. All right, so line this up again, rotate it, line it up with a 1/2 inch, line up my blade with a 1/2 inch mark, drop it. And again, same thing. I'm going to come down to the 4 7/8. Right there. And that corner looks really good too. And same thing here. Line this edge up with a 1/2 inch. Now this one you actually have a cut on either side that you can kind of gauge. So I'm going to come up, line my blade up with the 1/2 inch mark. Like so. Drop it. And I'm going to cut right down to that other cut there. Perfect cuts. Yay. All right, set this aside. Good morning, Dee and Carissa. Thank you for joining. All right, so I'm going to set this, my frame aside for right now, and we're going to do some die cutting. So I'm going to take this die, I'm going to die cut one from the Mossy Meadow and one from the Timid Tiger. Now I will bring my cutting machine in so that you can see that. So you guys have seen this a million times, I'm sure. All right, so to do the die cutting, base 1, thin die adapter plate 2, one of the number 3, flip that over, and mine is really cut. I use it a lot. And I'm just going to line my die up there on my cardstock. I am cutting down, so I have the cutting blade of the die down. Just going to put my second cutting plate on the top, and I'm going to roll that through. Roll. Sorry, I'm wiggling the table. Try to do this so that I'm not wiggling. There. Move that out of the way. Take this out. And I am going to get my little roller here. Roll a lot of this out. I do have to run this one. I've used this one quite a bit with this kit. So I do have to actually run this one through with a dryer sheet so that I can make it a little bit better. Then we're going to pull this out of the die. So there, yeah, this little piece has not been coming out for me. So there's one. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one with the Mossy Meadow. Get that extra Timid Tiger out. I'm just going to run that through really quick off the camera. You guys don't need to see me do that a second time. So I'm just going to do this, run that through second time. And get this one out of the way. Some of this scrap out of the way, and we'll do the same thing. Just kind of roll that through, loosen up that die that's in there, get those little scrap bits out. And then poke it out with my take your pick tool. Well, that piece did come out good, but this piece didn't. We'll pull that one out and this one. Okay. Oop. Ah, come on, that one. So there's our second one. Good morning, Roxy from Chicagoland. Chicago. Okay. And then we can just set that die aside. I am done with that. Now, this is where we get wild and crazy. I don't know about that. All right, so I'm going to take this orange one. I want this to have the green leaves, but I want orange flowers. So I'm going to trim these little like leaf sprigs off the flowers. Now this one is connected to this flower. I'm going to take that flower off too for right now. And I'm just going to be left with this. Okay. Now I do want to add this flower as well. So I'm just going to trim those leaves off of it. And then if you can tell for this one right here, there are cuts in the bottom. These three little cuts, let me see if I can point to them with my take your pick tool. So it's this one here and this one here and this one here. To me, that represents like the bottom part of the flower, and I am going to cut that off. So when you see that I'm cutting this off, I'm not cutting the flower. I'm cutting what I perceive to be the bottom part of the flower. So I'm just going to pull that off. Whoop. That. And then I'm just going to follow that one right up and around like that. So I just get that. And I know it looks a little bit weird. Okay. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. All right. So now I'm going to grab some mini dimensionals. Now you can do this a couple of ways. This is ultimately my plan is. My plan is to put this on top of here and this on top of here. You can put your dimensionals on the back of these if you want, or you can put your dimensionals right on here. So I'm just going to put them right on the green where I can see and you can see. And there. And I'm just plugging them kind of on the random petals. They don't need to be on all of them. I'm going to want one here. Oops. And one here. Like so. Now I am going to take one mini dimensional and I'm going to cut it in half so that I can put one on each one of these little, like this petal here and this petal here. So because these are not near the edge, I'm just going to pull one off with my tweezers and cut it like that. And I have one piece on the tweezers. We'll add there. Pull the other one off of my scissors and there, like so. Okay. So that's all I did was I just added dimensionals to just random places on those flowers. Now let's pull these backings off. It would help if I had fingernails to pull these off, or I could use my take your pick tool. That really is what I should be doing. It goes much faster. Okay, a little, half a mini, like so. All right. Now I am going to place my flowers on top of the mossy meadow. So I'm going to hold them with my tweezers because it's just easier for me. It doesn't have to be the same for you, but it's easier for me. And I'm just going to hover over. Let me just see if I can, I'll zoom this in a little bit so you can see how I'm doing this. Okay. All right, so there, I'm just going to hover over the green, the mossy meadow. And I'm just going to lay that down. So a little pressure. And then do the same thing with this one. I'm just going to hover over and put that one. I didn't get that one on quite straight enough. So I did not press down until I got that on a little bit straighter. There. So now you can see that this flower actually looks like it has the stem that comes up and it's the bottom of the flower. So there is that. Let me zoom back out. There. I can zoom in a little bit more. There. Okay. All right, so this is how I intended this card to go. This here, and then, you know, this here. But I thought it looked really cool. Now, I do still have to trim down this card base, and I will do that. Excuse me. I thought this looked much better with a frame around it, like that. And my thought was to also pop the frame up on dimensionals. So here is where you guys can vote. I am going to, while you are voting, let me know if you want this to be a frame or a mat. Okay. So you can vote on that while I am trimming this piece down. Now, again, with this piece, because this is symmetrical, this little triangle is in the center, I want to cut this down to, if it's going to be on a mat, I need it to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm going to trim evenly off 4 sides. So let me just pull this in the right way. So I need this to be 4 inches. It is currently 4 1/4 inches. So I need to cut 1/8 of an inch off each side. So I'm just going to line this up with the 4 1/8. And I'm doing that again because I want to keep this diamond, I said triangle, didn't I? This diamond in the center. So I'm just going to trim that and flip it around. And now I can line that up with the 4 inch there and cut up. Wow, you guys, yeah, you guys are agreeing with me. Frame, right? Yes. All right, so this one is 5 1/2. I need it to be 5 1/4, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim 1/8 off each side. So we'll just do this. Even though this is going to be a frame, I'm still going to cut this down because I'll show you what the look is now that this is cut down so that you can see it. But this is, so this is how it would be. So you'd have this mat with this piece in the middle, which was this was my original design. I thought, well, that's really, I like it. But I thought that just took it up a notch. So you guys, it seems you guys agree with me. Yay! All right, cool. So let's do this then. I don't want this flat. I want to give this a little bit of dimension also. So it's not going to look like a shadow box, but it will kind of give that same feel of a shadow box if the frame itself is lifted. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on my card base. And I'm going to just use my multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm just going to center this on my card because my frame is also going to be centered on it. So my frame will hide all of the edges. So nice and centered on that, like so. Now for the frame, I'm actually pulling in some, these are some dimensional strips. And I believe Stampin' Up! Sells these. These I've had in my craft stash for, I don't know. I bought them a long time ago so I could do shaker cards. And can I just tell you that I really don't love shaker cards. I don't really know why, but I don't love them. So I'm just going to put these long ones. I already cut these ones pretty much to length, 2 of them, to go on the sides. Now, the ones from Stampin' Up, the ones that Stampin' Up! Sells, I believe are a little thicker than the regular dimensionals. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm just going to take this one and cut it roughly in half so that I can put it here. And this it doesn't have to, it's okay that there are gaps here because this is not a shaker card, so I don't have to, worry about elements, coming out. This is just to pop it up. So we're just going to do that. And that, yay. I can't wait to show you guys all of my other cards. Yay, yay, yay. Oh, thank you, Roxy. Yes, those are the foam strips. Roxy just dropped, if anyone's interested, Roxy just dropped in the comments the foam strips and the part number and the page that they're on in the annual catalog if you are interested. So now let's just pull this over. Not that this matters right now as far as making sure that it's upright, but I do like to check every now and again that my card is upright. Then I'm just going to very carefully, not quite centered there. Easily pull that up, twist it a little bit if you have to. That's the thing with the dimensionals in the foam strips. Okay, that was a little bit better. All right, so now if you look, that frame has a little bit of dimension behind it. And then for these, I'm not gonna pop these up. I mean, I could, because there's already dimensionals here. So I'm just gonna actually glue this right down to the only thing that's popped up is the orange flowers that are on there. So there's still dimension there. I'm also only going to add glue to some of the leaves, not all of them. And because I want some of those leaves to look like they can pop up. I'm just going to pull this up, lay that down just like that. Yay, like that. Now, for the inside of the card, and I probably should have done this before, but I didn't. The inside of the card, I am just going to stamp, "Let's Celebrate You." This is a stamp from this kit. Just stamp that. Yay. Looks great. I got it. I got it straight. And then I thought we would just do, for this one, because I have not used this stamp yet that comes in this kit. I haven't used it. So let's use it. Grab a piece of scrap paper here so I can stamp this off the side. Just do that. And I'm just going to stamp this one like here, down in the corner, like so. Yay, let's celebrate you. Get that out of the way. And then final, oh, you guys, I almost put my hand right in that timid tiger. That would have been funny. So let's just add some of these are just the gold sequins that come in the kit. Let's just add some of these just to be more fancy. Add 1 and 2. Then we'll add a third one, like, yeah, over here, I guess, like so. And now you have all of that dimension. I know it's hard to see because you can actually see my dimensionals when I hold it like that. So, good morning, Luann. So there is our card, and let me just zoom right all the way out so you can see a little bit more of my desktop because I'm going to be showing you now. Yay! Are you guys ready to see my other cards? Cool, cool. All right, so here's the one we just made. That right there. Now, I did this one. I tried to lean into the Timid Tiger for this kit because it's a really nice I'm not a huge orange fan, but Timid Tiger is a really nice orange. And in this kit, it's really very pretty. So I did this one. This is pretty much the way that the card front is in the disc, when you do the instructions for the card. The only thing I did differently, and I'm sure you can't see it, is I put Wink of Stella on this big orange rose and then just added To a Wonderful Friend. And I put that on a Timid Tiger card base. And then, so if you have this kit or if you've seen this kit, you know that this is actually 2 pieces. This is the white card base with all of the coloring, the watercoloring on it, with the exception of a few leaves. And then you take this die cut piece and you glue that down. Look, I've got rogue mini dimensional backers all over the place here. So what I did with one of those is I actually used it as a stencil. Oops. Used it as a stencil. So I basically flipped it over. You can see this one, the leaves are going this way. Here they're going opposite. So I flipped it over and I used it as a stencil, and I just used blending. So it created that white. And then I took that piece and I offset it just a little bit so that it looks like it's got a little bit of a white shadow. Like that. So there's that one. And then I did kind of the same thing, only instead of using it as a stencil, what I did was I took the piece, the negative piece that this came out of, and I laid that down on my card, and then I sponged white. I just used my white craft ink, and then I put the die cut down the same direction as this, and then I put some Wink of Stella on that big rose, and then I used some of those metallic texture rub-ons for those. Cool. So those are all of the ones with the rose. And then I did, so with this one, because I used the negative as a stencil to get the white ink on there, I was also leaning into all of the other negatives. So this piece right here, and you'll probably see there have been people that have posted some things on that Facebook group using the negatives. This is the negative where there are little sentiment circles. This is one of them that came out of the kit. And this is the negative. There's 4 of them. So it cut this down to 3. And then I just used the 4th one that I cut off. I used as a stencil so that I could do some blending in there. And then I stamped also, added a couple of those little plumeria flowers from the Happy Hibiscus. I tucked this little guy in, and this little guy, I fussy cut him out and just added some pink rhinestones. And this is actually one of the card bases that has that gold on it. And I used the exposed brick. So there's that one. Just put that there. And then one of the other negatives, this one here, this is the negative to this sentiment tag that came in the kit as well. So to me, it looked kind of like a little fence or a gate. So I just popped that one up. Same thing, exposed brick here. I know these are hard to see, but these little clear embellishments, these little clear, and I don't remember what they're, polished dots or something like that. And I think that they're retired now. So those again, just trying to lean into, like, I'm just trying to use up some stuff that I had in my craft stash. I've got so many embellishments and I don't always put them on the cards. Oh, I did use those same ones on this card as well. Just they look like little water droplets to me, so I thought those were cool. And then this one, so this is using one of those other die cuts that come with a kit, and I just put it on the old olive with the sentiment tag. I tucked the sentiment tag in under the flower, put a little bit of the gold ribbon behind it. Same thing, exposed brick. For this kit, I really felt like the exposed brick embossing folder was kind of my go-to for this one, so I did that one. And then for this, so a take on this one is I wanted to pull out a different color in the flowers, so I put this on. And this is the Blackberry Bliss. But what I did is I actually cut out, like, where you can see the exposed or the openings here. So these openings that are in here, I actually cut the Blackberry Bliss out of those areas so that it would be white. And I popped it up on dimensionals so that it looks, there you can see that a little bit. And then I did just a quick little outline with my gold pen. Added some gold embellishments, little happy birthday tag. So there's that one. And then Blackberry Bliss again. This is using one of those card bases that we used today. This is actually using one of the card bases that is not one of the side that's not symmetrical. So this was kind of an option for that, so that it looks, so that it is symmetrical. And this is just using that rosebud die from the Charming Days die kit that we just used, the set that we just used. And this is one of the die cuts that comes in the kit. I embossed this using from that Glass and Garden the embossing folders that come with the Cheers and Sips suite. So there's that one there. This one this one was kind of fun. This one was just kind of built on it as I started doing other things. So this part down here was actually a strip that I had cut off one of the other cards. And I thought, well, geez, that actually kind of looks like a little flower bowl. So I popped that up on dimensionals. I know that's hard to see. Let me see if I can kind of tuck something behind it real quick. I can see that. So I kind of like made this little, looks like a little bowl here, like a little fruit bowl or flower bowl. Pop that up on dimensionals, tucked some flowers in it, little tag. This is one of the sentiment tags that comes with a kit. And this is actually, these are Old Olive. These are the leaf dies in that Charming Day kit. I really did. I loved that those dies with this kit. So then, of course, I had to pull in the what the heck is that one? It's brand new for me. Inspiring Imperfections. So I brought in, Inspiring Imperfections. This is the stamp set and the dies. So the dies will cut out, you know, the dies will cut out these and these and this and this. So I embossed first using that embossing folder that comes with that suite. For the sentiment, I actually used one of the pieces that I cut off the card base because it had that beautiful, you know, gold detail on it. And I did the cracks in the vase and the bowl. I did those in gold. So there's that one. Fun, fun. And then these next ones. So these ones, I thought I'm just going to use some of that. So that this is that card base that has that gold in it. So I used some kind of a, for these next 4 or 5, I did one similar to this in all of the in colors. So this is the strawberry slush. And I just took the card base, half the card base, and I blended some ink on it somewhere, somehow on all of these differently on some of them. And then I used that old retired, very long ago, retired script stamp. And I stamped that on in the same ink color as the die cut, and then just put the die cut on there, just plain and simple. We have that, and it's just so pretty. So there's that one. And then this is the same type, but in the Secret Sea. And I just used from the Impressions of Bloom, the oval dies. I just made myself a little mask and just blended the ink inside of an oval and also stamped the words only inside of that oval, and then just added my die cut. Darling Duckling. Okay, yellow. You guys know me in yellow. I don't know. I don't know what it is with me in yellow. So not my favorite card, I will say that, but I wanted to do one in each of the colors. So the same thing, I just did blending in the center and kind of radiated out from the center, put the words on the entire card base, and then put my layer on. And all of them also, I put these gold sequins on all of them. And then my Timid Tiger one, I turned and did it this way, but the same thing, same exact technique. So there's that one. And then probably my favorite of all of these is the cloud cover. Love the cloud cover. It's nice and soft. Looks very it just looks soft and delicate. There's that one. And then of course, you have to do the vertical half hexagon card. So I did this one, and I did put this one on the Pretty Peacock cardstock to kind of lean into this flower over here, give that flower a little moment of its own. And then the back, we did that one. And then of course we have to do one this way, horizontal. So what I did on this one is I actually used a window sheet on all 3 sections. I know that's hard to see off camera. Let me see if I can get the light to shine on it there. Like on all 3 of the sections there, so that I could add elements on all 3, and then one tiny one in the center. I didn't want a big element in the center front on either of these because I obviously wanted to show off that beautiful floral card base. But this was using, each one of these was using one full card base. So I used the one side of the card base for the background, and then the other side, the back of the card base, is what I used up here and on the back panels for the card. So this did use an entire card base, same as that. So there's that one. And then like our card today, where I layered 2 different colors on, I did that for the rose. So for this one, this was one of those. This is actually where did that card go? This one right here. So this is actually the card I was making when I cut that strip off, because this is the part that wasn't symmetrical, and I had to cut it to this width to get it to be symmetrical. So I did 2 different colors with that rose die cut, glued the red onto the top of the flower, obviously. Used some of those metallic rub-ons again here. And then this is actually, so the front of the card is a little bit shorter than the back of the card so that I could show that strip of white with the gold, and that could also be on the inside. So there's that one. And then this one here, this was taking another one of those card bases. This one is one of the symmetrical sides, but I just cut the corners off, leaning into the shape of the gold. And then I layered, for this one, I layered the same color, but I used the single rose, this die cut here. I used this one instead of doing the same die cut twice, and I used it in the same color, and then I just blended a little bit of the Timid Tiger ink on those top roses. So there's that one there. And then the last one, very similar to this one, very similar to what we did. This was one of those card bases that is not symmetrical, and you can see, so if you're just looking at the gold lines, you can see that these gold lines go all the way up, but this, they came down and started, you know, this way again. That was driving me nuts. So I did the same thing that I did here. I cut this piece down so that it was symmetrical, but then I thought, well, I'll just add that down there as a little second piece, and I'll tuck some Secret Sea leaves in there. I added the cloud cover flowers instead of the same color, and then just tucked 2 of those little leaves that I cut off the second die cut. I just kind of tucked in there and added some more of those gold rhinestones, sequins, not rhinestones, sequins. So there are all of the cards. Yay! So I'll be posting these over on that Facebook group later on, maybe later on today. I've already taken pictures of most of them. I think I just have to take a picture of the card we did today. And then I'll post them over on that Facebook group, but you guys got to see them first. Yay! All right, so let me just thank you. You guys, thank you so much. Let me flip the cameras, figure out how figure out what buttons to push here. I don't know. So anyway, I hope that you loved these alternatives. I hope that you use some of these for inspiration. It doesn't have to be this kit. It can be, you know, just the technique that I used, or, you know, any of that, and make your own cards. And I will actually, I have to be better about posting some of the, when I do these alternatives, I need to be better about posting these also over on my Facebook group. Because when I post these over on my Facebook page, the Tatted Stamper, you guys can add a picture of your own as a comment. And when you comment on my post, you can just show me a picture of the cards that you made. I would love to see them. So if you are, if you've been watching any of my videos, you know, there's a description in the link of the video for my Facebook page, and also my my Pinterest page. And what else? If you want to shop with me, you know, you can do that. There's a link there. There will not be a project sheet for this card because obviously there's nothing tricky about it. So there won't be a link to a project sheet. But next week, I do plan on doing a fun fold for next week. So I will be working on that throughout the week. And yeah, so if you're watching and you're not already subscribed, you know, please consider subscribing to my channel, and liking and following me over on Facebook. I do have an Instagram page. I don't do a lot over on Instagram. I'm having, you know, enough hard time with the, you know, with just the YouTube and the Facebook thing. So I'll I'll get better at Facebook first, and then I'll mosey on over to the Instagram page and start posting things there also. So yeah, I hope that you loved this. I hope that you join me again next week for a fun fold. And I hope you all have a great week and don't work too hard. And I hope you have great weather. And Sandy, I hope you get that rain that you need. And I'll see you all next week.